I'm here to talk about the 2021 Naish kite foil range. I'm going to start out with just an overview, basically describing what the targets were in the designs and how we achieved those. So as you can see, this is the 810 and 650 wings. As you can see, these two foils shared the same design DNA, and that means that the design decisions that we made apply equally to both of them. The goal with these designs was to create foils that had really good top speed and a really good rider experience, but also had a really wide speed range. What that means is that the foils need to develop lift early, but develop it very smoothly, and then as they go faster, they actually need to start reducing lift as you narrow down the angle of attack, which means basically riding the foil a little bit flatter. If we just take a look at this 810 wing, you can see that we've got this kind of hump in the front profile. This is really what we call the heavy lifting area, and this is the high lift area of the wing. This is where it's doing most of the work, but the wingtips at low speeds and higher angles of attack also are working, but as you level off at speed, you can see the wingtips go neutral, and they're designed to be extremely low drag and also quite washed out. At low speeds, this entire wing is producing lift. As you go faster and faster, the lift moves in, and at very high speeds, you actually start producing very small amounts of downforce at the wingtips, which, because this wing is also swept, acts to stabilize the wing. So that's really what creates this feeling of a wing that's fast, but it's always comfortable. It's comfortable at low speed, it's comfortable in the middle of the range, and at very high speeds, it actually is self-stabilizing to a small degree because of this wingtip design. So I've talked about the similarities in these two designs, but it's also important to note the differences. The 810 is really our Swiss Army knife. It's a foil that takes off in light wind. People like it surfing. It's easier, a little bit easier to use. It gives away a little bit of top speed, but overall it's still a very, very fast foil. It has that, that balanced speed and control all through its range. And it's just, if you had to have one foil, that would be the way to go, unless once you start pushing and you're really looking for more speed, higher performance, higher wind conditions, then you would go down to something like the 650, which is just takes everything that's in the 810 and just makes it a little more focused and extreme. So it's slightly higher aspect area ratio. It's obviously smaller area. These are all things that mean at top speed, it will have less drag. It will let you go faster. It has an extra gear in it. And at the same time, in rougher, any kind of condition where you're really pushing, you're going to be, more faster and more comfortable on a smaller wing. So that's really the important distinction. I mean, for most people, the Swiss Army knife is the way to go. For high performance guys or guys that really just like small wings and just like that extra sort of zippiness, if you will, and are really looking for higher top speeds, then you would go to a smaller wing. Both wings share the same tail wing. Basically the moment coefficients, which is the amount of basically torsion produced by the wing producing lift, is pretty similar on the two foils because this is actually a slightly proportionately thicker section. So it makes sense to just use a single tail wing and swap out the front wings. The Kite 960 is our foil system that's just a fun, all-around wing it's a little bit of an outlier compared to our other two foils, but what it is it's unique and has a lot of really good advantages. It's a foil that takes off very, very smoothly. So for example, people learning how to foil, it's really comfortable and easy to use. It's not really focused on speed, but what it is focused on is just maximizing the foiling experience. So for just kind of it's a fun, I mean, I hate to use words like playful, but it really is a playful foil. It's lower aspect ratio. It's nice and safe. It's got, everything's curved nicely, and it's just really balanced, easy to use, and just a great all-around foil. Yeah, and the 960 comes with its own unique back wing, which is, tuned to really match this style of front wing, which is a front wing that's sort of more stable, and it's just an all-around really nice package. So the biggest changes are we have fine-tuned our materials. All these foils have 3D shaped cores, and then there's a bunch of carbon on the outside, obviously. This year we have a multi-axis carbon layup, which is all UD pre-preg carbon. And then the top layer is a 3K carbon weave. And the result is a foil that's a lot stiffer. It's not only stiffer, but the way it bends when it's under load is it actually, as it loads up, because of the three-dimensional geometry of the thing, it actually twists, and the wingtips slightly twist at high loads and then slightly untwist at lower loads to create more lift, again, more lift at lower loads and less lift at high loads and less drag. There's a gloss finish this year. We feel like that's the best option, and the reason is because any kind of contamination or surface problems will slow you down, and a gloss finish is the easiest to keep clean. The wet sanded finish is nice, but if you touch it, you're going to leave, oils from your body on it, or you get sunscreen on it. All those things are an issue. A gloss finish, the great thing about it is you can pretty much just wipe it off with Windex and a rag, and you're back to your starting point. We offer fuselages in two different lengths, 55 centimeters and 64 centimeters. Both of them have an extra hole, which gives you a second position to move the stabilizer a little bit forward. Essentially, what a fuselage and a stabilizer do is they're stabilizing flight. So the distance between the center of lift of the front wing and the center of lift of the tail wing is one of the things that will make your flight more stable. So as you make the fuselage longer, your flight gets stable, but you have less control in terms of being able to force things like turns. So in steady flight, longer is more stable. For turning, carving, all those kind of things, you'd probably want to start moving shorter. For kiting, Naish offers two foil masts, 85 and 95, and we offer them in two technologies. The first technology is aluminum. It's in a thin-walled, multi-web aluminum extrusion, which means it's really light and stiff. It's actually stiffer than a lot of carbon masts on the market, yet the weight is really low. It has bonded aluminum ends, a nice fairing. It's a great all-around working mast. Then as a step up, we offer a carbon version. The carbon version is thinner, it's a shorter cord. That means it's going to produce less drag, it's going to have less of a steering effect. It gives the rider a little bit more freedom, but most important, it will be faster. It has a blended, molded-in carbon base, which is, just a little bit smoother and structurally makes a lot of sense with this kind of carbon. And it's important to remember that all the Naish components are modular, so you can use either the aluminum or the carbon mast with any of our foil systems, and that makes it really, convenient to upgrade and improve your equipment by going, for example, from an aluminum to a carbon mast, or going from a shorter mast to a longer mast, etc.
Woo!